Hey there, interwebs. I hope you're all doing well. So I have my Lower Decks Twin Twain shirt on, which I think is actually a good approach to politics. We should, like in Star Trek Lower Decks, Star Trek Lower Decks. That's what the Klingons say. If you know, you know. But in Star Trek Lower Decks, the characters dress up as Mark Twain to end arguments and just like come to some sort of resolution. Honestly, I think that that's a great way to handle politics from now on. But unfortunately, that is not how we handle politics, and unfortunately, we don't handle politics a lot like the Star Trek world, which would be much better in a lot of circumstances. In some ways not, but in a lot of ways better. But regardless, something happened this weekend regarding the long-running Star Trek Las Vegas convention that happens every single year, and it kind of became a little bit of a blow-up meme within the Trekkie community, and I want to blow it up a little bit further because it's kind of funny. And it has to do with my two favorite things, Star Trek and politics. I like that second one significantly less. Anyways, this post appeared on the r/conservative subreddit the other day during the weekend that the convention was going on, so let's just read it together.
Star Trek convention turns political. I have a couple of friends up in Vegas this weekend. They wanted to turn their brains off and go and nerd out and meet some Star Trek actors and have some fun. Today, during a panel with Jerry Ryan, 7 of 9, she went off for 10 minutes straight telling Trump supporters to go fuck themselves multiple times. A panel with Captain Janeway had a fan ask her for her political opinions, and the panel turned into a huge Kamala love fest. My friends now feel hated by everyone there and are keeping quiet. Say what you will, and it is true, of Star Trek, particularly modern Star Trek, but it's a fucking convention. Why can't people just fucking nerd out about stupid fun sci-fi shit? Why do leftists have to make it about politics every single fucking time? I feel horrible for my friends. They just wanted to do something outside of their usual and have a stupid nerdy time. Now all they're taking away from this is how 7 of 9 hates them with a fucking passion.
Fun will now commence.
So, yeah, this is very, very funny for numerous reasons. First off, I've said this numerous times, Star Trek has always been leftist. There's worthwhile arguments to say that, sometimes it's more liberal-leaning, sometimes it's more leftist-leaning. It's very overtly quoted Karl Marx at times and made very pro-communist episodes.
Workers of the world, unite! You have nothing to lose but your chains.
The general leaning and intention of the series and franchise has been, at the very least, progressive. So for anyone to go to a Star Trek convention and expect to not be the weird ones, if you're conservative there, is just hilarious to me. I mean, even amongst Trekkies, which admittedly are very weird people, the conservatives in the weird group of weird people are the weird ones. And it's very funny that they see themselves as why would we be the strange ones? And then the second thing that's funny about this is also the fact that expecting politics at a Star Trek convention? Again, the series has always been left-leaning, but it's also been one of the most overtly political sci-fi franchises there is. I would argue that pretty much every science fiction franchise, especially major ones, are political in some way, shape, or form. But, Star Trek is the most bonky on the head, will, scream at you about what politics it's talking about franchise that there is out of any of them. I think the second closest would be, Star Wars, and that's only because, Star Wars literally goes, hey, these guys that are evil, they're Nazis. Just so you're aware, they're very clearly Nazis. That's probably, the only less overt way you could do it than Star Trek does. And so just, them being oh, Star Trek's at politics at a Star Trek convention? What? How dare they? They're having a Kamala love fest over here, and... which is just funny. Also, the fact that it was Kate Mulgrew that they were complaining about that it became a Kamala love fest. Have you listened to Kate Mulgrew? Have you listened to Kate Mulgrew? She is one of the most staunchly political people I've ever heard in my life. I fucking love Kate Mulgrew, and she is one of the most opinionated people. Frankly, I want Kate Mulgrew to run for president. I would vote for her in a second. One of the most well-read, articulate, smart women I've ever seen in my freaking life. Adore her. So of course that would happen there. Also, Jerry Ryan. Also, by the way, can I just say the badass women from Star Trek Voyager being the most political voices at the Star Trek convention? I'm probably not the most political political voices. Tawny Newsome there. Tawny Newsome's also really political, as are a lot of them. But regardless, but just the two that get pointed out, like Jerry Ryan, Kate Mulgrew, like shout out to the women of Star Trek Voyager, they rule. But yeah, Jerry Ryan, like also like has been involved in politics for a long time. There's kind of a meme thing within the Star Trek community, but Jerry Ryan indirectly led to Barack Obama's like election years ago. I mean, it's kind of not exactly one for one, but I believe the story is like Jerry Ryan has had an ex-husband who was a politician, terrible guy. They divorced, and a lot of the stuff that came out in the divorce kind of caused him to withdraw his presidential bid at the time, and that sort of cleared a path for Obama. I forget who her husband was, but shit person, presumably. So yeah. It's just weird to me that conservatives would be at a Star Trek convention and be like, oh, Star Trek being political? Weird, strange, I hate it. It's like, come on. You're the weird ones at the weird con. Like, that's saying something.